How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins, Media Corner, back again with a brand new video for today, and welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it's going to be on Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, this is a 2024 action-adventure comedy film, and this is, of course, the third entry to the Sonic film series. And it's directed once again by Jeff Fowler, who helmed the previous two Sonic films. And this time in this movie, we see Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, in which they're once again voiced by Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, and Colleen O'Chesney, in which they reunite against a powerful new adversary, in which they face off a new mysterious villain named Shadow, voiced by Keanu Reeves, who has powers unlike anything they've ever faced before. And with their abilities being outmatched, Team Sonic must form an unlikely alliance. So that's pretty much the story of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, when it comes to the previous two Sonic movies, I really enjoyed the first film, surprisingly, back in 2020, even though I had low expectations for it back then, but I surprisingly had a lot of fun with that movie. And then the second movie that came out in 2022, I had a lot of fun with that sequel, and I thought that sequel was even better than the first one. So, of course, when it came to this new entry to the Sonic film series, of course, I was really excited for this movie, even after I first saw the trailers when they first came out. And this film came out on December 20th, even though I didn't check out on opening day because I wanted to see Mufasa the Lion King first. But I saw this movie just a few days after it was released, in which I saw this on December 22nd with a friend of mine. And it is safe to say that after we both saw this movie together, we both had a really great time with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I would even say this is probably even better than the previous two Sonic films. And I would say this is probably the best out of the overall Sonic the Hedgehog film series. First off, it's great to see Jim Carrey reprising his role as Dr. Robotnik from the previous two movies because, you know, around the time when the second movie was coming out, he was initially planning to retire from acting. But I would say this film probably made up his mind to come back to play Robotnik once again here because I love Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik in these movies because he tends to steal the show when it comes to these movies, and he tends to do that. He tends to do that all over again here within this movie, and I just love him through the majority of this movie. And even when we see him playing his grandfather in the film, Gerald Robotnik, I thought it was generally a lot of fun and very entertaining. And their comedy aspects in the film were just generally hilarious due to their performances here, and there are often times where they do make a few pop culture references, and I thought they were generally really funny. Although there are often times when it does come to some of the other comedy aspects in the film from the other characters in the film outside of Jim Carrey's Robotniks. And there were a few times where it does work for me, but there were a few often times where I felt they were less stronger for me when it came to some of those aspects within this movie. But as for everyone else in the film, which you've got, you know, James Marsden and Tika, Sumpter reprising their roles in the previous two movies, they're once again good together here. And having, you know, Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, and Colleen O'Chesney reprising their voice work as Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails, they're once again a lot of fun together. And having the addition of Keanu Reeves in this movie as Shadow, I thought was a perfect choice because, you know, in the original Sonic film, they did make a reference to one of his movies, which was Speed, and that was a lot of fun in that film. But for Keanu Reeves' performance as Shadow in the movie, I thought he was awesome, and his backstory in this movie I found to be really intriguing and really powerful for its storytelling, and even for some of the heartfelt moments that goes on within this movie. Although there are times where the pacing does tend to drag on just a little bit when it comes to the backstories in the film, but it does manage to pick itself up once we move on to another scene in the film, and the action scenes in this movie were generally entertaining and a lot of fun when it comes to the overall fighting sequences between Sonic and Shadow, and as well as for some other action-packed moments that goes on within this movie. And in the end, guys, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it is safe to say that this one did not disappoint me here since I'm a fan of Sonic. And if you're overall a huge fan of Sonic the Hedgehog within the games or the movies, or you're a fan of any of the actors, especially like Keanu Reeves or the character of Shadow, chances are you're not going to be disappointed with this new entry to the Sonic film series here. I'm going to give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 4 out of 5. Generally a great treat here for the whole family here, and easily the best out of the overall Sonic the Hedgehog films, like I said before, and I cannot wait to see where the fourth movie will go on from there once it does come out in 2027, so we'll have to see what happens in the future. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and I'd like to know what you guys think of this new entry to the Sonic series, if you've already seen this movie, or if you just recently checked this one out. And as always, this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.